kaopectate.
All right, bullish stocks, but for how long? We got Jerry Bowyer, Dan Fitzpatrick, and Ned Riley. Ned Riley says forever. Dan Fitzpatrick's not so sure.
Not so much.
Jerry Bowyer, bonds did very well today. This is an interesting sidelight. Treasuries rallied. Our own Rick Santelli said it's because Bernanke made a very strong statement pressuring Congress to get their fiscal exit strategy. Let's just take a listen to Bernanke on fiscal nymphomania.
Nevertheless, even as important steps have been taken to address the recession and the intense threats to financial stability, maintaining the confidence of the public in financial markets requires that policymakers begin planning now for the restoration of fiscal balance.
Now, I have my doubts about this restoration of fiscal balance or even monetary balance, but the 10 years closed at 3.47%. It rallied by 13 basis points. That's a big move, Jerry Bowyer.
Yeah.
Give me a quick take. What do you think's going on here? Why bonds applauding Bernanke, if-de-do?
Nothing says nymphomania like Ben Bernanke giving testimony.
Did you guys actually think he was going to use that term? I love him to use that term, but whatever.
Me too. Look, I think he was playing the role of school teacher there and scolding them on deficit spending and kind of reflecting, you know, maybe Congress is starting to say, hey, enough already. I don't think it's going to work, by the way. I think Bernanke lives under the illusion that his kind of going along with the administration makes him a trusted advisor and he's going to be reappointed next year. I think that is, in fact, an illusion.
Intrade says 70% probability that he'll be reappointed. That's the Intrade betting parlor.
And I almost never go against him, but I'm going against him on this one. I don't think he gets reappointed.
Dan Fitzpatrick, just real quick, speed of light. Did Bernanke have anything to do with the stock market today?
No, I don't think so. I think he had a lot to do with the bond market. I would rather see Secret Squirrel be the Fed chairman. We're going to have the same kind of transparency. It's not working for me.
Besides commercial real estate, tell me why Ned Riley's wrong. You know, Ned is strong. He's been on this kick. He's having himself a hell of a summer rally. You got to give him credit. Why is he wrong?
Hey, you're not putting me up against an amateur, that's for sure. Here's what I see. I see a chain that's all strung together, but a lot of the links are busted. You think about this, a jobless recovery. Ultimately, the fundamentals are going to have to drive stock prices, and we need consumption. We've got 70% of the GDP that's driven by consumption, and yet we're talking about a jobless recovery. The folks that, quote, consume are those folks that are without jobs. And so ultimately, there's going to have to be some transition. And until, Larry, I know you agree with me on this, until we start talking about cutting taxes and actually, and cut it on all the greedy rich folks who happen to employ everybody who's jobless.
Well, by the way, rich people have been the hardest hit in this recession like they have been in all downturns. There's some facts on that. But let me go back to Ned. Ned, favorite investment right now. Go ahead. Favorite investment.
I still like the 4 Qs, Larry. It's tops on my list.
Tech.
Done well this year, and I still think it's going to be the leader going next year.
Right,
I don't believe
people, Ned, if you look, let's look at this. Tech is up. I'm just going to use the Nasdaq is up 51%. The S&P tech sector about the same. It's a huge move, Ned. Would you advise investors, somebody watching this show, to go in now? Let's say they've been in cash. Let's say they've been in a bank account. You say now's the time, even after this gigantic 50% move in tech, is now the time to buy tech?
Well, Larry, I said it on your show in February and March and April when the Qs were substantially lower. I see him as just a tremendous growth potential. It's the one area that has secular growth to it. The tech sector is prevailing during a rough economic period. I think if you take the combination of global growth, emerging markets doing better, and basically rebuilding or building out the infrastructure throughout the world, tech has got to come up tops on your list. And they're cheap. They're cheap.
I think China-Asia Link tech does the best, too. Dan, just last word. You closed today 89.15. They'll call it 89.16 on the Dow. Does it get to 10,000 in this rally right now?
In this rally, no. Ultimately, I agree. We're talking bearish economy, but right now for stocks, ultimately they go higher. Also, I agree with Ned. I would be scaling into technology right now, not piling in. Get involved, though. If you're on the sidelines, you're not in the game.
All right, great stuff. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. Jerry Bowyer, Dan Fitzpatrick, and Ned Riley. Coming up, a no new tax California budget deal with a little drill off Santa Barbara on the side. Wall Street Journal's Steve Moore weighs in with our own Jane Wells. Right now, let's check in with my great pal Dennis Neal to see what erudite, incisive things he's working on for the top of the hour.
You know,
know, it's official, Larry. This recession is over, and this rally is for real. So where should you put your money now? And one reason markets are up, Obamacare, the health care plan, it's dead. Let's write the obit tonight. And lastly, the wealth gap, those pious anti-profit liberals, you know what? The poor, they are a lot better off than you guys realize out there.
Healthcare stocks up because the healthcare bill was down today, Dennis. I love your take. Have a great program, everybody. Watch it 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the Kudlow Report. Lots more to come. Read my lips. No new taxes in California. Please stay with us.